if we don't let these biases get us down. The dealer bias is against women, the dealer bias is against young people. What is the future? One of the parts of the future. How many of you guys have iPhones? Raise your hand. Go ahead. There are all sorts of devices now, computer-related, many. And what are we doing about that? We have millions of people, zillions of millions of people out there listening to music, really everywhere. Tons of them. And if we could take 1 or 2% of those people and convert them and inject them with audio fluid, we would be rich into the wild, wild future. Now I'm going to ask Mike Mercer, who has written an article on this, to explain something he had in mind. And I'll tell you what it is. And he'll give you a little bit, and then I'll take the floor back, and then we'll go to questions. He wrote a piece for positive feedback. And what he said in this piece, and he'll explain it to you briefly, is that every high-end dealer should have a computer station. And that computer station should feed into a low-price system that some of us can afford, a slightly higher price system, which less of us can afford, and a big one, which nobody can afford. The idea here is to show this generation how much they're missing and to get them into high-end sound because you hear more of the music. Go ahead, tell them.
Well, I mean, he pretty much
stand up and speak to the audience, please. I have to say that.
He pretty much described what I said. But the crux of what I was saying is that, yes, we have now an unprecedented amount of people discovering, listening, sharing, finding out about new music, more than we ever have. And what draws you into hi-fi? We're music lovers, right? I hope. So there's millions and millions of people out there like discovering new music through iTunes, through iPods. So I just suggested that dealers, this dealer that I worked for in Santa Rosa now did it, set up like you have your good, better, best scenarios, right? In your electronics, people walk in.
I'll do this now. Go ahead, sorry.
You have your entry level, your mid level, your high level. Encourage young people, old people, whoever it is. I'm not excluding anyone, but have them bring in their iPods and hook it up to decent systems that will reveal something, that will show them that music is also a sonic and a visceral experience, and it can be that through an iPod. You know, we all poo-poo MP3 and everything else. Well, you know what? We have a situation that we can take advantage of that's just, we've never had anything like it before. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've never talked to as many people online and in person about new music or being turned on to new music, and that's what it's all about. So dealers have to follow suit. You know, the $10, $20, $30, $50,000 systems, awesome, great, keep selling them. What about the $300 and $500 speakers? An iPod can drive them too. It can drive it all. I don't know. I think we're missing out on a great opportunity.
So, thank you. And think about it, guys. If you don't have one in the store and you're a dealer, you're ignoring the potential audience. How are you going to get this group in? You're going to show them that more music. You are. Two more things I briefly want to get into, and then we'll do questions. I've almost forgot. One of the great breakthroughs is the high-resolution digital, and I mean DSD particularly, and I mean multi-channel sound. Why? Because multi-channel sound, if it's done right, will create an acoustic space that you can be inside of, and that will take you closer to the music. The problem with the early DSD recordings was that everybody said, oh gosh, we got highs, we got bass, and they didn't sell, and the microphone, they don't know how to do the microphones either. But now they're learning. If you heard the latest generation of SACDs out there, you drop dead. I talked last night about John Adams' Transmigration of Souls at the 9/11 piece. Michael Bishop recorded that all the way around, so you can hear people walking and saying things to their loved ones, and you hear the orchestra. It will break your heart. And you can't get it if you don't hear it in multi-channel. And Beethoven's Fifth in multi-channel is a revelation, because you can hear how he scored it and why it was revolutionary. And you don't hear that in two-channel. You listen to organ music, it takes multi-channel to really show you the wave front and to feel it. So we are moving into a multi-channel era. And I just want to tell you that because I think that's another one of the transition points. Now, I think I've said enough for the moment. Roy?
Okay, thank you very much, Harry.
Hey, guys.
What we'll do is we'll take questions. When you ask a question, two things. One, would you please stand up so that the guys with the cameras can catch you? And would you speak up? Harry, you'll repeat the questions back so everyone gets to hear them.
I thought
two,
you were going to read the questions back.
I can repeat them back if you like.
Well, see, if you read the questions back, they can say, Harry's going deaf. Well, John Curl said that.
And the other thing, please try and keep your questions succinct and direct.
You
We'd
can
like to
direct
keep them
your
short.
questions at me, at Mercer, at each other. The point is to keep it short so that we can have a discussion and involve everybody. And if some women do not stand up, I'm going to come and get them to stand up.
Okay, a first question, please.
Question?
Guys, done. Eric, when you're at home and you have a choice of you're relaxing, you're taking it easy, or you just really want to listen, are you going to put on a living presence record or are you going to put on some digital?
So what the question is, for relaxation, are you listening to a living presence or a living stereo disc, or are you putting on something digital?
That's not a fair question to ask me. There are a couple of CDs in the last year that I can put on to listen to and use as evaluation. But give me the Mercuries, give me the RCAs, give me the EMIs, give me the Decas, give me my vinyl. I will shoot it up for you. I want my vinyl.
Next question, please.
Oh, one more thing. Did you know that turntable sales increased 96% just last year? They've been going up every year. You know how all the young bands are using vinyl as prestige thing? Just keep that in mind. They keep pronouncing it dead. Go ahead.
This is your one chance. Would you like to stand up, sir?
Yes. Are you ever going to update your super disc list?
Is he ever going to update the super disc list?
I'm glad you asked that. Thank you. You know what? I've had trouble because there's not a lot of new super discs. Most of the stuff that I can get is from Classic, which is doing a brilliant job. Oh, one point, just briefly. Classic just discovered something called super clarity. They've discovered if you take the black stuff out of the record and make it like in the old days when it was transparent, that they took out magnetic material that affected the cartridge, and it sounds clearer and louder and better. But if all the new records I add I can find things, okay? And like I never heard Jackie Dupre doing Elgar's Cello Concerto in vinyl, but when I get a copy, I'll let you know. I would like to update it, and I will. And I'll revise it because what we're doing now is we're going through magnetic cartridge tests. And the cartridges and tone arms today are so good that I'm reordering some of my super discs because I'm discovering some that I liked before aren't as good as I thought, and some I didn't are. But I'm doing this update of the super SACD list. I know that won't make you happy, but I'm really happy about that. And then I'm going to also do an update of the super CD list. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, next question.
The absolute sound refers to live music performed in an actual acoustic space. So can there ever be absolute sound recordings of multi-channel, multi-mic recordings of rock and jazz?
Okay, so the term the absolute sound refers to acoustic music performed in a real space. So will there ever be multi-mic recordings of rock or jazz which qualify?